Sri Sachidananda Sadguru Sainath Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Sai Satcharitra, an Insight, Episode 126. My humble prostrations at the lotus feet of our Sadguru Sai. By the divine grace of Sai, an attempt has been made to translate the gist of the divine discourse of Sri Ramanathan Brother telecasted in Sai TV. This is purely done to share the glory of Sai and his divine teachings with more insight to the aspirants. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahmam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. In the previous episode, we heeded to the Channa Leela of Sri Sainath, which was connected to the core philosophy of Katha Upanishad, which says submitting the five senses and rest together with the mind, and when the intellect ceases functioning, that becomes the highest state which leads to divine joy. To attain this state of joy, Sri Sai Maharaj has given out certain principles to adhere, by following that one can easily enjoy the supreme bliss of yoga. Now devotees might ponder what is the necessity to follow these doctrines. Let us listen to the narration of Hemant Pantji, in which he has listed the recompenses of the above. First and foremost, one becomes devoted to God. That cultivates a detachment towards worldly pleasures, which leads to liberation and finally grants God attainment. So, the rewards one would receive by the above are Bhakti, Virakti, Mukti and Paramapada Prapti. Hence, when the mind is at peace, it can be trained to focus on the Lord. Then, irrespective of the work we perform, our mind will be ever engrossed upon the holy feet of Sri Sainath, and the divine incarnation Sri Sai Maharaj's form will be ever fixed in our eyes, which will naturally fill our hearts with devotion. Liberation and non-attachment would arise, leading to salvation, the final goal of one's life. Now, to add more flavor to this, let us listen to some stories from our great epics. This story is from Mahabharata. Once, a sage by named Durvasa came to the court of Duryodhana. This sage is known for his short temper. When goddess Parvati, consort of Lord Shiva, complained that it is very difficult to live with, realizing the turmoil his wrath had caused, Lord Shiva deposited his anger into Anasuya, the wife of sage Atri. From this portion of Shiva deposited into Anasuya, a child was born named Durvasa. So, the literary meaning of this term is difficult to live with. If this sage would get angry, then he would immediately curse the one who triggered it. Duryodhana was aware of sage Durvasa's anger. Hence, he gave a grand welcome and treated him with due respect. The sage was pleased with the reception and told Duryodhana to ask for a boon. Duryodhana had a cunning wish to get his cousins become a victim of sage Durvasa's anger. Hence, he requested sage Durvasa to visit his cousins, the Pandavas, in the forest after Draupadi had eaten her meals. Duryodhana drew a plan. He thought if the sage would visit Yudhishthira's house after Draupadi had finished her meals, then there will be no food left at home and Yudhishthira will be unable to feed the sage, which would make the sage get enraged with them, and because of which he would curse his cousins. Sage Durvasa also accepted the request of Duryodhana and reached the forest where Yudhishthira and his family were living during the period of exile. As planned, he went to Yudhishthira's home with a great number of disciples exactly after Draupadi finished eating her meals. Yudhishthira received them well. The Pandavas were dependent on the Akshaya Patra, the wish-fulfilling bowl, for their food. This divine gift that they received from the sun god would provide them any amount of food until Draupadi had not eaten her meals. Once she finished eating her meals, then the divine vessel would not supply any food for that day. Knowing this, Duryodhana requested the sage to visit the Pandavas after Draupadi had consumed her food. Sage Durvasa, upon reaching the home of Pandavas, said he and his disciples would go to the river to take a bath and finish his noontime religious rites and come back to have their meals. Yudhishthira was greatly concerned about the arrival of the guests, as the Akshaya Patra was already washed and kept aside. Now, no food can be received from it for that day. Everyone was distressed, and Draupadi began to pray to Lord Krishna, their only savior, to get them out of this challenging situation. Immediately, the all-merciful Lord Sri Krishna came to the rescue of his devotees. Before the Pandavas revealed their problem, Lord Krishna told Draupadi that he was very hungry and wanted to have some meals. Listening to this, Draupadi burst out into tears and explained their plight. The all-knowing Lord now told Draupadi to not worry, but to bring the washed vessel to find out if there is any food stuck in that vessel. Lo, to everyone's surprise, a tiny leaf was stuck at the bottom of the vessel. The Lord picked it and ate it instantly. Now, the Supreme Being Lord Krishna told the Pandavas to invite the guests for food. Accordingly, Bhima was sent to the river to get the sage and his disciples for meals. They all said their tummy is very full and feel as though they just had a sumptuous meal, hence cannot eat anything more. How did this happen? They all were still standing in water and performing their rituals. Who fed them, and how did their stomach become full? Let us ponder on this. It's because the all-pervasive and omniscient Lord Krishna ate a tiny bit of leaf. That small particle of food has sufficed the hunger of all the living beings. That's why, though the sage Durvasa and his disciples didn't eat anything and were only doing their rituals in the banks of the river, they also experienced the satisfaction of eating a full meal. This is a testimony to the philosophy that as the Lord is present in every being, if the Lord is served food before serving anybody, then that will satisfy the hunger of the householders and the guests. The host need not worry about the number of guests that would appear at their doorsteps, as all of them can be supplied with a hearty meal. Moreover, the normal cooked food turns out to be a prasadam, as it was consecrated to Lord first. This food will have all the positive energy necessary for the upliftment of our soul and nourishes our mind and body with good vibrations. Now let us listen to a story from Mahabharata cited by Hemant Panji in Sri Sai Satcharitra that contains the moral none should cultivate the habit of eating their food alone, as it is not a virtuous act. This is the story of Sudama. The beloved friend of Lord Krishna was also known as Kuchela. His family was in extreme poverty. so he never had good clothes to wear and always wore torn rags. Ku means stone and Chela denotes clothes. As Sudama wore only torn clothes, he was called as Kuchela. His wife Vasundhara was known as Shuddhakshama, which means a person with no belongings. Owing to misery, she owned nothing, hence she got this name. Sudama was a close friend of Lord Krishna. Still, he was pushed to an impoverished state. What was the reason behind this? Devotees, this story is very significant as it contains a great moral and portrays the various virtues of Lord Krishna. As kids, Lord Krishna, Balarama and Sudama were studying together at the hermitage of their guru Sandipani. The students had to perform the task given to them by the guru and his wife. This was the custom followed in the Gurukul. And that day, Lord Krishna, Balarama and Sudama were asked to go to the forest to collect some firewood. This firewood will be used for performing yajna by the Guru. The Guru Patni have a handful of fried chickpeas tied in a bundle and gave it to Sudama. By the time you return home, it would be dusk. Hence, whenever you all feel hungry, eat this and then drink water, she said. Obviously, the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna knew all this. They all went to the forest and were done cutting the wood. It was time to get back to the Guru's hermitage. Suddenly, it started to rain heavily. So they stopped and stood under a tree for shade. Just then, Lord Krishna began his divine sport. He knew that Sudama wanted to eat all the chickpeas as that was his favorite snack. But the Lord wished to give him enough chances to change this habit. So he said, Dada, I am feeling very thirsty. Sudama should have told the Lord about the snack sent by Guru Patni. He never said a word about that, nor picked up the chickpeas from the bundle and shared with the Lord. Instead, he said, Oh, it is not good to drink water in empty stomach. So, you take some rest, you will be fine. The first chance was lost. Heeding to the advice of his friend, Lord Krishna placed his head on the lap of Sudama and pretended as though he was in deep sleep by snoring for a while. Now slowly Sudama opened the bundle and began to munch the chickpeas one by one. Suddenly, Lord Krishna opened his eyes and asked, Sudama, Dada, what is that noise I hear? I hear someone munching something. From where is that sound coming from? By asking this specific question, Lord is giving one more chance for Sudama to reveal the truth. Whereas Sudama, in a very casual tone, spoke thus, Krishna, what is there to eat in this forest? My teeth are chattering as I am shivering due to cold, and it is even hard for me to chant the Vishnu Sahasranama properly. Thus, Sudama lied to the Lord and slipped even the second chance, not realizing that the one who is lying on his lap is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, to whom nothing can be veiled. Still, the most merciful Lord gave one more opportunity to Sudama by saying, Oh Sudama, be it so. While I was lying on your lap, I had a dream vision in which a person ate the food that belonged to someone else. While he was eating, the other person asked him what he was chewing. He replied, Oh, what dust should I eat? At that moment, there pronounced a voice, Let it be so. Oh, Dada, you don't worry. Maybe I was too much engrossed in that dream vision, Hence I asked what you are eating, and from where is the noise of munching coming from? Don't I know that you never eat anything without giving me? Thus, Lord Krishna gave the third chance, quoting an analogy. Still, Sudama didn't budge a bit to accept his mistake. He never revealed the truth to the Lord. Devotees, in the above conversation that took place between Lord Krishna and Sudama, I would like to recall the most significant pronouncement of the Lord, which is also the closing statement of his dream vision. When asked, "What did you eat?" the other person said, "Oh, what dust should I eat?" And the voice said, "Be it so." This is indirectly a curse given to Sudama by the Lord, as he never realized his mistake of not partaking the food with others before eating. Instead, he neglected every opportunity that was provided by the Lord to submit his blunder. As the Lord was displeased with his conduct, Goddess Mahalakshmi was not bestowing her grace upon him. Hence, misfortune struck Sudama and he became Kuchela. That is, the one who was always wearing torn clothes and was pushed to a state of extreme poverty, though he was a chum of Sri Krishna. Thus, he had to suffer utter poverty during the later part of his life. Lord Krishna and Kuchela grew up. Kuchela and his wife led a life of misery. Meanwhile, Lord Krishna became the king of Dwarka. Now, let's see how Kuchela's poverty was eradicated. Kuchela's wife persuaded him to go and meet Lord Krishna. With much hesitation, he decides to meet his friend, as he was not willing to trouble him with any request. Moreover, he wasn't sure if Lord Krishna will have the same love and friendship for him. So, he was reluctant initially. Later, he planned to visit him. While reminiscing their childhood days, Kuchela remembers that Lord Krishna loves beaten rice. So, he took a handful of parched rice earned by his wife with her own labor, bundled it in a small piece of fabric and took it along with him. When Kuchela went to the palace of Lord Krishna, the gods were not ready to allow him inside, as he looked like a madman with ripped clothes. But after many requests, they went to inform the Lord about Kuchela's arrival. The Lord, instead of ordering the gods to bring Kuchela inside, he himself ran out to receive his beloved friend. The Lord didn't mind the economical status of his friend. He hugged his friend, washed his feet, and gave a royal welcome to his friend. Kuchela was pleasantly shocked at the reception given to him by Lord Krishna. The Lord asked him, "What did you bring for me?" He knew that Kuchela would hesitate to give the flattened rice, but the Lord always longs for loving devotion, so he himself asked Kuchela for it. Also, Lord Krishna wished to remove the poverty of Kuchela immediately. Hence, he wanted to accept the offering and instantaneously grant him the blessing. As soon as Kuchela gave the small bundle of flattened rice, the Lord quickly opened the bag, took a handful of it, ate some, and gave to his consort Rukmini Devi as well. Lord Krishna was very much pleased, and from that very moment, the misfortune that was stuck to the Kuchela got released, and in turn, Lord Krishna showered his complete grace by granting him a golden city to reside. So, the moral of this story is, when we eat the food that is being offered to the Lord, then this kind of misfortune will never strike our lives. Otherwise, one has to suffer greater troubles in their life. As soon as Lord Krishna filled his mouth with that rice sent by the wife of Kuchela, who was called the Shuddhakshama for not owning any belongings, was now showered with all the riches of the world. Kuchela was not aware of all these transformations. He took leave from Lord Krishna without demanding anything from the Lord. As he strolled back to his hometown, he was shocked to see a magnificent palace in the place of his hut. Kuchela was unable to believe his own eyes. He saw his wife and children adorned with expensive clothes and jewelry. He wondered how all this happened. Then he realized that these riches were bestowed by the great Lord Krishna as a reward for his true love and deep devotion that he showed to him. Scriptures underscore that food had to be served to the Lord first and then enjoy them after consecrating it. Hemant Panji has cited this story here to emphasize this principle, as the same was taught by Sri Sai Maharaj through in his unique and amusing way. This reminds me of an enthralling story narrated by Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji titled as Sri Sai Baba's Kuchela. This happened during the year 1913. One day, Nama Saptaha was done in Dwarakamai. Whenever Nama Saptahas are performed in the masjid, it will be flooded with devotees and it would be difficult for them to even go close to Sri Sai Baba for darshan. As usual, everyone were chanting the Lord's name with deep fervor, and at that instant Sri Sainath called out Shama and said, "Oh Shamya!" On the other side of the wall, an old man is seated with sugar candies. Go and tell him that I need them and bring him here. Though there was absolutely no passage to walk outside, somehow Shama managed to come out of Dwarakamai and went in search of the old man. He found a person seated there. Looks like he has a wound on his chest, as blood and pus were oozing out of it, and due to this his body was foul smelling. Now Shama went to him and said, Sri Sai asked for the sugar candy and also brought that person along with him slowly to Dwarakamai, as it was difficult for that person to even walk, and took him close to Sri Sai Maharaj. Shama left that person in front of Sri Sai, and now Sri Sai asked that person, "Give me the sugar candy." That old man had a small bundle in his hand. He opened it and picked up the sugar candy and offered it to Sri Sainath. Sri Sai took a part of it and put it in his mouth and gave the remaining to the old man as a prasadam and told him to eat that. This is exactly like the story of Lord Krishna and Sudama, where the Lord asked Sudama for the flattened rice and ate. Similarly, here Sri Sai asked for sugar candy from this old man and ate it. And this beautiful story has been narrated by Pujya Sri Narasimha Swamiji in his charters and sayings under Leela number 511. There are more distinctive and humorous stories to listen in this episode. We shall heed to them soon. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Om Sai Ram.